Since I get asked all the time how to set up a Fendt One monitor in a Fendt One, I'm going to go through a quick setup for it. So just turn the machine on. See, the customer's got a few profiles here. We're going to make a new profile. So first thing I'll do is I'm going to go up to the top here, click on the profiles, and I'm going to go add. And I'm going to put grain cart. Hit the check mark. And I don't need a second mode for the profile, so I'm going to hit the red check. That would essentially just do like an A and B option for it. Now, I don't really need all these screens for a grain cart application, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take most of these out. So what I'm going to do is click up here and go to Overview Manager, and I am going to delete everything off and start from scratch. That way I can simplify the setup for the operation and not have so many different menus and screens that really aren't going to be used anyway. So now we have nothing. So if I go back, I have nothing on the screen. So I'll go back, go to Overview Manager, and first thing, carting, what you're going to want to typically see is you'll want to see a hydraulic option. So I'll put hydraulics here. You'll want to see your engine information. As you go along the bottom, you can kind of, pick what you want to see. So he is running a green fit system in this, so we wouldn't put an auto steer screen on here. But another thing with when you're setting this up, so if you look at the little boxes above it, you got 1 block and 2 blocks. That 2 blocks means if I put hydraulics here and here, it'll expand across. So if I put hydraulics here, now it just makes that bigger. Probably want a rear PTO option. I'll put a lighting, and let's see what else. Like I said, it really depends on what your setup is. Some guys will have like a radio. I'm going to take this one hydraulic out, and I'll put one back here. I'm going to put the lighting here, and then I'm going to put phone right there. So this is kind of a customized setup. So now really on the screen is all that he's really going to need for running the grain cart. Now once I set this up, I set the screen up, now I go back up to grain cart and I have to save it, what I just changed. So I'll go to grain cart and I'm going to press save. I'm going to save the current profile. Now everything I just changed there saved under the grain cart profile. Next thing you'll want to do is we need to go into our hydraulic screen. So right now tractor is off. I'm going to start it up. So you can label each valve under this profile. So right now I believe he has things hooked up to number 1 and number 3, so yellow and red. And yellow, I believe, is his gate. So I'm going to label that as the gate. And then we'll adjust the flows once we get figured out what he wants. Number 3 is his fold. So now when you go back, now it tells me what colors are what. And one of the nice things with the Fendt is I can move them wherever I want. So right now I have a red up here, so that would be my fold, but I'm not using green. essentially what I'll want is I'll want to probably run my gate here, and some guys will keep their fold away from the joystick. They'll have it down here instead. So to be able to do that, I'm going to go back into my overview manager, and I'm going to add my function recognition or assignment, and I'm going to add 4 of them, because then it'll make a bigger block, and now I can see where everything is assigned. And what I can do is I can change where it's at. So like I said, even some guys will run it over here. They'll have spout, you know, using this joystick, and then you have your shuttle back and forth. So as you're karting, and if you're using the foot pedal, you can just shuttle back and forth as you're unloading to move back and forth on the cart, and then you can move your spout where you want it with the joystick. So a simple way to do that, I'll click into this. So right now, red is red and green. Well, we're not using green, so I can take, I'm gonna unlock it. I can take green and take it off of there. Now it's not assigned anymore. There's nothing assigned to that. And we need to put a yellow up there. So I'll click on the yellow and then assign it up on the joystick. Now it's yellow. Same thing down here. I'm not really using any of these in the grain cart application, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just take all of these away. So none of those functions will be, none of those hydraulic circuits are gonna be adjusted, since I'm not using them anyway, so I don't really need them assigned anywhere. Now what you'll see is I don't have any colors on here anymore, and I have nothing lit up. That means none of these are assigned to any hydraulics. This isn't assigned to any hydraulics, it's just right here. And like I said, you could put these 2 right here and then just run this for your karting, and it almost acts like a grain cart joystick. As far as if you were running the actual auto steer, so what I'm going to do right now is I'll resave this profile. I'll go back home screen, go to grain cart. I'm going to click on the grain cart, and I'm going to resave that profile. So now everything I just changed is now saved. So when I restart it up, everything that I have assigned is saved to the grain cart profile. A few other things. Down here on the bottom, these would be my cruise speeds. As you see, they're both gray. So right now, none of them are armed to do anything. Down here on the side of the joystick, you have your cruise 1, cruise 2. I have to have one of them enabled to be able to actually allow that cruise to engage when I push the stick to the right. And when you know it's enabled, the cruise will be lit up green, and once you actually engage it, the speed will be green. And then as you're karting, so let's say you want to kart at, you know, you're going to unload at 4.5 miles per hour. Well, the easiest way to adjust that is once you have your selected one enabled, you just use this roller right here, forward back, and you can adjust that. And even once it's engaged. So I could say, okay, I want my cruise one's gonna be 4.5. And as you know, as he's unloading, if I need to change that speed, let's say he wants to move it up to 4.8 miles per hour, I can easily just roll that thumb wheel forward to speed up to 4.8. Be the same thing with cruise 2. If I enable cruise 2, it's the same thing. I can adjust that with the thumb wheel on the joystick. And it doesn't actually engage until I push the joystick to the right to engage, whichever one is lit up green. The other thing is the foot pedal. That's gonna essentially drive like a car. I'm gonna push forward either here or pull the propel engage button on the back and push the joystick forward, and the arrow on the dash will go in the direction I select, and then all I would have to do is touch the pedal, and it would start driving, and it would regulate my my engine speed based on the load on the transmission. Lastly, one thing I typically do with grain cart operation is make sure your TMS is set up correctly. So a lot of times you can run in a grain cart, have it all the way down to 1800 or 800 and let it run up to 1830 automatically. And then I go over to the auto function, or sorry, on this TMS, yeah, you can run it this way, or what a lot of guys will do, I believe around like 1630 is 1000 PTO, and then I turn on my PTO trigger. So now when I turn my PTO on, it will ramp my RPMs up to 1630, which is 1000 RPM on the PTO automatically, because I have this trigger set. So once this trigger is on, it'll only ramp up to that when my PTO turns on. If I have it off, that's not going to really adjust anything. If you got any questions, let me know. But that's kind of a brief, quick overview of the setup, how to assign some of the functions, and how to set some triggers to make karting simple.